So many jokes could be made about Kane regarding his recent election as the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Did the fire department endorse his opponent? Will council meetings begin with him violently lowering his arms to send columns of fire bursting into the air? Does he have the authority to pardon himself in the death of Katie Vick? But kidding aside, there's no indication that the real-life Glenn Jacobs is anything less than an intelligent, practical, and thoughtful man. And we here at Cultaholic wish him the very best in his foray into office. But even as we wish him well, it's still hard not to tie Glenn Jacobs, the well-read, educated politician, with Kane, the malevolent demon that's left a swathe of broken bodies in his wake. Kane has been a part of our wrestling viewing for more than 2 decades now, sometimes under different names, and he's provided us with countless instances of sheer entertainment. In honor of his biggest victory outside of the squared circle, we would like to take this time to learn a little bit more about this true giant among mortals. One of pro wrestling's most timeless and most respected figures. Everybody's favorite Big Red Mayor, Kane. I'm Sam from Cultaholic.com, and this is 10 things you didn't know about Kane. Join us! Number 10, Gran Máquina Roja. During his 20+ years of terrorizing the WWE locker room with his breaching of the laws of thermodynamics, Kane tended to reside in the uncharted territory known as Parts Unknown, presumably with the Ultimate Warrior as his wacky sitcom neighbor. In realer terms, Kane is understandably associated with Tennessee due to both his earlier wrestling heritage as well as his recent election, but in actuality, Kane was not born in the United States. Kane was born on April 26, 1967 in Torrejón de Ardoz, Spain, into a family stationed at an Air Force base. From that sentence alone, I guess you might automatically think of Paul Bearer piloting a fighter jet, one that's fueled by the power of the urn? But in seriousness, Kane wouldn't be the first celebrity born on a US base in another country. Actor LeVar Burton, football player Robert Griffin III, RG3, and Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee were born into military families in Germany, Japan, and Greece respectively. But as far as we know, none of those 3 ever survived a funeral home fire. Number 9. The cause of fire drills. The irony of Kane having spent much of his career playing brutish hellspawn is that his betrayer is one of the most laid-back and humble individuals the business has ever known. On top of that, he's proven to be an eloquent and knowledgeable speaker on a variety of complex civic and political matters. Clearly, Glenn Jacobs is one smart dude. With that in mind, it's less surprising that earlier in his life, Jacobs worked as a substitute school teacher. He earned a degree in English literature at Northeast Missouri State and set out to become an English teacher, only to learn that the school he taught in didn't have much more to offer than simply substitute jobs. Jacobs had to leave the life behind to look for something much more steady, eventually parlaying his brawny frame into life inside the squared circle. And as far as teaching goes, Jacobs would say in a later interview that he has nothing but respect for teachers, after seeing firsthand how difficult the job really is. Number 8. Unintended Dream Match. In 1992, Kane would make his professional wrestling debut, but he was still some time away from being revealed as the Undertaker's charbroiled baby brother. His initial name in the business was Angus King, and he used the handle when he wrestled in the St. Louis area in his mid-20s. A name he would use later on was Bruiser Mastino, and it was with that moniker that he would have a match that was quite interesting in hindsight. In early 1993, the man called Bruiser Mastino wrestled a match on a WCW Saturday night taping against the man they call Sting, losing to the face-painted hero in less than 3 minutes. This would be Kane's only match for World Championship Wrestling, and go figure, it was against a man that fans would have clamored to see him face many years and many costume changes later. I mean, Crow Sting versus Masked Demon Kane? You're talking about Batman versus Bane in wrestling form right here. Number 7. Brother against brother. Kane and The Undertaker have wrestled each other more times than the Sandman has popped open cans of special brew. They were the original fight forever, albeit with more lightning and fireballs than just straight up haymakers. But prior to Kane ripping the door off of the Hell in a Cell cage in order to confront his sibling, Jacobs would match up with the Man in Black under a different name. In fact, their first match against each other wasn't even in WWE. You have to go back to Jim Cornette's Smoky Mountain Wrestling promotion in August 1995 for the first official Kane vs. Undertaker match. It was at Smoky Mountain's Super Bowl of Wrestling in Knoxville Civic Coliseum that Undertaker made a guest appearance in order to battle a wrestler known as Unabomb, the name of choice for Cornette's resident wrecking machine heel, Glenn Jacobs. Undertaker eventually won the match after nearly 15 minutes, a prelude to the future wars between the the two, and it wouldn't take much longer at all. Unabomber was already WWE bound, having filmed a number of vignettes as the highly reviled Dr. Isaac Yankem, DDS. Number 6, gone in a flash. With all due respect to the talent and professionalism of Glenn Jacobs, it's somewhat surprising to see him, or anyone really, have a continuous 23-year presence with one wrestling promotion. That Jacobs has managed to remain an enduring force with such an over-the-top character such as Kane only makes his endless residence even more astonishing. But hey, more power to the man. The irony of Kane's incredibly long run with WWE is that he was not intended to have lasted this long. According to Jacobs on the Talk Is Jericho podcast, the Kane character was meant to be a one and done. He was supposed to be built up for a big match against The Undertaker, only to be slain by the dead man and then written out of the show for good. There was apparently no intention for Kane to have lasted beyond the first match with Taker, but Jacobs remembers McMahon being enamored by the character over time, wanting to build him up to surpass his kayfabe brother. It's hard to imagine the preceding 21 or so years of WWE without Kane being there for so much of it, and yet it apparently almost went that way. Number 5, there are no safe words. In constructing the Kane character, WWE went to great lengths to give him an ominous appearance, complete with flame-printed bodysuit and a mask that matched. So much of the Kane aura ties into the mask, as it concealed all of his features sans his unsympathetic eyes, and even then those were mostly shrouded by hair and shadow. He may not have been an icon of Mexican lucha libre, but Kane will still go down as one of the greatest masked wrestlers of all time. In the same Talk Is Jericho interview, Kane spoke about the origin of the mask, and the story behind it doesn't quite have the same awing majesty as the character itself. According to Jacobs, the mask was designed by a company in New York City that specialized in making S&M attire, which certainly adds a bit of a kinky element to the Kane gimmick. Jacobs remembers that the mask makers were very nice and professional, and it's a safe bet that they were exactly that. So nice, we're sure, that they probably held off on designing those flame-printed assless chaps for Kane to wear to the ring. Number 4, plays well with others. Really, shouldn't Kane be the ultimate loner? His parents died in a funeral home fire, he was raised in an institution, has attempted murder on many occasions on camera, and is an alleged necrophile off camera, thank Christ. Yet he's often been seen as part of a tag team and the ideal hot tag partner for cleaning house on the opposition. Through his 2 decades plus on the WWE roster, Kane has held some form of tag team championship on 12 occasions. This includes 9 reigns with the classic World Tag Team belts, 2 reigns as WWE Tag Team Champion, and once with the WCW Tag Team titles during the 2001 Invasion angle. His partners have included The Undertaker 3 times, Mankind, Big Show, X-Pac, each of them twice apiece, The Hurricane, Rob Van Dam, and Daniel Bryan. That's quite a lot of tangible partnerships for such a deranged pyromaniac. Number 3, body count. The 2001 Royal Rumble match was most notable for Kane entering from the number 6 position, making 11 eliminations across a near 54-minute duration before falling just short of victory at the end. His 11 eliminations were a record that stood for 13 years before Roman Reigns shattered it with 12 eliminations in the infamous 2014 match. But fear not, Roman haters, there's another Rumble record of Kane's that neither the big dog nor anybody else has been able to match. Kane still holds the all-time record for most cumulative eliminations in Royal Rumble matches, sitting on an impressive 44 toss-outs in his 19 Rumble match appearances. That's also a record. The only other wrestlers to have even reached 40 eliminations are Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, who sit at exactly 40 apiece. To be fair, Reigns' total of 30 and Braun Strowman's 25, greatest Royal Rumble factored in, do put Kane's number in jeopardy, but whatever year it eventually gets past, he still would have made a hell of a run. Number 2, golden hat trick. As demonstrated in the Tag Team Championship entry, Kane's longevity, as well as his standing as a flame-throwing tower of power, have provided him with many opportunities to rack up championship belts within WWE. From the time Kane won the WWE Championship from Stone Cold Steve Austin at the 1998 King of the Ring, he would win close to 20 belts under the WWE banner, the variety of which enables Kane to claim a unique distinction. By virtue of his Money in the Bank cash-in win over Rey Mysterio at the 2010 show of the same name, Kane became the first man to win each of the WWE, the World Heavyweight, and the ECW Championships, holding each belt 1 time apiece, interestingly enough. Only 2 other wrestlers have managed this trifecta: CM Punk when he won the WWE Championship a year later at the 2011 Money in the Bank, and Big Show when he captured the World Heavyweight title at TLC 2011. And number 1, Mustsee Monster. Much ado has been made in this list about Kane's impressive run as a WWE performer, but we feel it hasn't been hammered home quite enough. From the time Kane first appeared at SummerSlam 1995 as Dr. Isaac Yankem DDS, he's wrestled at least one pay-per-view match per year since, with his tag team title match appearance at this year's Extreme Rules marking the 24th consecutive year with at least one pay-per-view bout featuring the Big Red Machine. Overall, Kane has wrestled the most WWE pay-per-view matches of all time, a staggering 173 of them between 1995 and 2018, which checks out to an average of 7.5 pay-per-view bouts per year. The closest wrestler to him is The Undertaker with 168, followed by Triple H with 166, John Cena with 159, and Randy Orton with 149. It's unclear how many more matches Kane will add, if any, to his whopping total before he ultimately hangs up the boots and mask, but he owes us nothing more, having given us so much for the last quarter of a century. He's the greatest demon in wrestling history, and clearly the most resilient. And that's our list. I've been Sam from Cultaholic.com. You can follow me on Twitter here. You can follow all of us at Cultaholic. If you like what we do here at Cultaholic, you can check us out on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Cultaholic. And whatever you do, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.